On our book of the month thing.
No, hello and welcome to your Booksplosion. This is the live show segment that we do where you don't need to read a book in order to watch. We're just chatting and hanging out. Today we're talking about aging and resolution. Kind of a fun little 2-for-1 in there. The themes kind of go together. I feel like it works. But we are going to start off with an announcement of our book of the month this February, which is WAYWARD Son by Rainbow Rowell. This is the sequel to Carry On, so you do need to read that one first. This is very much a sequel to that book. But yeah, this is what we're reading this month. Our live show is on February 29th, Saturday, leap year day, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel. We're going to be discussing WAYWARD Son. So come back and join us for that. But for now, for today, let's talk about, do we want to start with aging or do we want to start with resolutions?
Let's start with resolutions.
Okay, resolutions.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, good way to kick it off.
Did you guys make resolutions this year?
Of course, I always do.
I mean, I have some in the back of my mind, but I'm not putting too much pressure on it. So, like in the past, I feel like I've been like, oh, I have to do all the things. But this year, I'm like, let's just like chill this year. So
I love resolutions. I love the clean slate. I love the reset, and it just really motivates me and feels like a fresh start.
Yeah.
So do you do resolutions on like a year basis, or do you do monthly ones, or is it just strictly year?
Yeah. Okay. Monthly is too much pressure. But I like
really as well.
What were yours?
Oh, well, one of mine this year was just to be kinder to myself. Just to like beat yourself up over the smallest things, at least for me. Like I'm always like taking these like small situations and making them bigger in my head. And like, I don't know, I beat myself up when I take a day off from work and I'm like, I need to just like chillax and like be nicer to myself. So
yeah. It's so hard.
Nice slang word there.
I know. I just was like, oh crap, that was one.
We're going to be talking about the slang of our youth and comparing it to the slang of the youth today.
Oh man. That's one of yours.
Well, how are you doing on yours? How are you doing about being nice to yourself?
I've had a few days where I've slipped up for sure, but I'm trying to like remind myself it's like, it's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself. But it's hard in the moment because you just get so caught up in your thoughts and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
You guys have any tips for me on how to?
I do. I actually have one that started working.
Okay.
Okay. So, my therapist set this up for me, but, so like her big thing, which is hard to do, but like it's been like a work in progress, is like when one of those thoughts comes up, like you imagine like a river that you're sitting amongst, and like you put and like you see it, you let it drift away because it doesn't serve you to keep it there. But what's been working for me is that, so she told me to imagine like someone who I know who's really good at. Mine was staying calm in like times of like anxiety and crisis, and so I can be like logical. Yeah. And she was like, who's someone that you think is good at that? And I was like, Brad Pitt in Ad Astra. And she was like, okay. So like close your eyes and imagine like you're sitting with Brad Pitt and like kind of just taking in him being calm in these times of crisis, and like put yourselves in a glass bubble, and like all those thoughts that are coming at you are like little gremlins, and like you see them banging into the glass, but you can't hear it because it's thick, and like they can't get to you. And I just have been doing these little meditation sessions where like I'm sitting there with Brad and he's not stressed and I'm not stressed, and the things are just like they're locked out, and like something to that effect. It sounds dumb, but like the more you do it, it kind of like starts to settle in.
I'm sure like when you first start doing it, you're like, okay, this is really weird, but
yeah. That's how it always is.
Like,
yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
What's one of your resolutions?
Yeah.
Well, first, I don't really do resolutions so much at the new year as much as I like to do it for my birthday, which it was just my birthday. So, but like, especially because my birthday's in February, so I feel like it's so close to the beginning of the year anyways that I still get a nice stretch. Like I can kind of take January as a warm-up month almost. Like I start the resolution with like the energy that everyone else has at the beginning of the new year, but it's my birthday that I really care about as like marking, a new year for me. So, but I don't know, this year I didn't really set any that are like firm, like quantifiable things. I mean, I want to write a book this year, but I try to write a book every year. So like, that's not a different. Yeah, I want to, I need to finally get my passport this year, and I really want to leave the country. I've never traveled out of America, and I really want to. So that's another, like, I guess it's more of a quantifiable one because, like, I just don't have a real plan set yet in place of, like, where I'm going to travel to. But I really want to go to Europe, and I really want to go to South Korea. So, like, those are the two places I want to get to.
You can do it.
Hope so.
You guys should let us know your resolutions. Yes, let us. I also want to like learn, like get better at learning another language this year. I got back on Duolingo. Yes, like a couple weeks ago. And I've really been enjoying doing that again. But like I always feel like I lose motivation to stick with it. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm trying to learn Japanese still. So we'll see how it goes.
Cool. My big resolution was to get back on my like solid yoga schedule where like I put yoga on the same level as work, because in my like so often work will just take priority over everything and I won't take care of myself at all, and that's how I like fall into these like giant anxiety spirals and stuff. And I have not missed a day since the beginning of the year. Week, Wednesday and Monday.
Nice.
It's like so freeing to kind of give yourself permission to make that important. If you don't, then you don't do it, because there's always something that you could be like, no, I have to get this done now. But like, this is important. It's like, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your health, and you can't do any of the stuff you want to do once you're taking care of it.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah. And my other resolution was to like, I still have the whole year, but like, it's still idea for book 3. Get that stewing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, another one on my list is to watch all the Star Wars movies.
You have fun resolutions. That's an easy fun.
That one's like an easy one to accomplish, but I feel like it's important to have ones like that on your list, because like it's always like a bummer when you like don't accomplish certain ones. So like you have those ones that like you for sure can accomplish.
Like resolutions don't have to be like, this is definitely going to improve my life from here on out kind of situation. That important. You don't have to put that much weight on it. It can just be like something you want to do.
Right.
Like, watching all the Marvel movies, or like reading a certain number of books, or doing whatever. Like,
ooh, did you guys set a reading goal this year at all? No.
I mean, I always put mine at like, I mean, not always, but for the last few years, I've been putting mine at 52, just as like a kind of a book a week is the approximate pace I would like to maintain.
Right.
I really want to do 100 book year, because I've come so close in the past, and I've never hit 100 books in a year. I did like 97 one year, and I was so close. But I stopped setting that Goodreads goal for myself because it stressed me out to be like 8 books behind. And then I was like, okay, well, guess I won't read then because I'm already behind.
Yeah. Reading goals they're not fun for me. They're just another stressor, because reading is also already like a part of our jobs, and it's already kind of lost a bit of that shine. And I want it to just be something, that I do because I want to.
Right.
And if I added the goal, it would like take away even that, because it's like, oh my God, I already have all this other stuff. Like,
yeah, it's such a weird situation to balance when it's like it's something that you love doing. It's like a hobby, but then it becomes part of your job, and you have like things that are more required of you in that way. Because like you still love this thing, it's still your hobby, but it's also your job now. And so there's like a line to walk between like work and enjoyment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We should take some from the chat then.
Yeah.
Every year I have the resolution of being less shy and making more friends, but it doesn't really work.
Oh.
It's always hard.
It's hard, but you can do it.
Yes.
Join something.
We
Start
believe-
an activity.
For the most part, my goal is getting more involved in the book/writing community. And YouTube has been a huge barrier for me, but now I have TikTok. Hey, very youthful thing is TikTok. Everybody loves TikTok these days.
TikTok is the new thing among the youths.
Yeah.
Everybody loves TikTok. It's not even the new thing. It's just like the new mainstream now. It was like, it's evolved into Vine.
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, TikTok is the next evolution of Vine.
Mm-hmm.
My resolution is to be more conscious of what I'm spending money on and stop wasting money on things I don't need or really want.
That's a good resolution. It's a hard one. Like, I feel like I think I saw you, Jesse, talking about impulse buying shit.
Yeah.
I have that issue too. When I like feel like I need something right now, and I just like will be like, okay, I need to get this and this, instead of like waiting and being like, okay, which one do I actually need, and like, is it actually going to help?
And I feel like we don't even realize how much we're influenced like on a day-to-day basis with like social media stuff. Like it's like on Instagram, it's like, oh, I have to have what they have. Like, no, you don't. Like, take a minute and like think about it. But
yeah,
it's hard. Let's see. I want to find a way to tell my mom that I want to get therapy.
Oh, hopefully she'll be like really supportive of that.
Yeah.
I think that's a really like mature thing to say.
Sure. Let's take one more, I guess. My resolution is to finally write a book. I've been trying to for the past 2 years. It's always been more of a feeling than an idea, but I think I have a plot and I'm really happy it's time. You can do it!
Yay! You got it.
Yes.
Just roll.
Yes.
Jesse, do you have any writing resolutions this year?
I mean, every year I'm like, this will be the year that I finish my book. So this will be the year that I finish my
This will be the year.
So we'll see.
This will be the month I finish this fucking second book.
You can do it, Christine. You got this.
Ugh.
All right.
Okay, so we move to our next segment.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, what are we moving to? The youth speak now, and then we'll talk about youth speak later.
Yeah. Exactly what you just said.
Okay.
So, do we explain this?
Well, I mean, so I feel time Jesse and Kat read tweets and shit. What? Did I freeze?
You froze.
I was just saying, I feel like all the time Jesse and Kat are using youth speak in their tweets and stuff, and Kat's older than me. And I'm just like, what are these words? Where are they coming from? And so that's what I'm born of.
It's not that I like intend to, but I do pick up a lot of youth speak from Twitter and Tumblr because I spend a lot of time on there. And I also really love language. So if I see a sentence where like a word is used in an interesting or cool way, like I'm really drawn to that kind of thing. And I like paying attention to that kind of thing. But yeah, it tends to be Jesse and I trying to explain what slang words mean to Christine.
I feel
like I don't like that. Why is that like that?
I have a very clear memory of explaining to Christine what dragging someone meant. What it meant, like, oh, drag them, like what that meant. We were at Y'all Fest or something a couple years ago. And I just remember, like, when Chrissy was like, I don't like it. What does that even mean? And Jesse and I were, like, trying to explain it.
Yeah, I don't have any memory of that.
Well, it's because every couple months there's a new word we have to.
Well, my most solid one, like that, I remember it was the first time I felt really out of the loop. Like, what the fuck is that? When I saw Emma using the word extra, and I was like, what is that? Like, what could it possibly mean? Like, and I thought it meant like really good or something. Like she's so extra at like hooping. Like that's when it came out around like the prime Emma hooping videos time.
I mean, it's just a shortened version of extravagant, basically.
Well, I know, but like it doesn't sound like extravagant at all. It sounds like extra. Extra's already a word. It means a lot. Like,
words in new different ways. That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, but it's just that it doesn't, like, older people aren't the people making these words. It's always coming from the youth. And if you're not hanging around these youths, and you're not like constantly like in, like you're on Twitter a lot and on Tumblr a lot, like that's just not where I go. I'm like on Instagram or like that's just not my social. And I just don't see it. Like, I have no youthful, like, I'm not around my younger brother who doesn't really use these words. He's like an old man. Anyway, Allison King said, aren't you still the youth? But like, no, we're out of the bracket. Okay, we're all out of the main bracket that everyone targets.
But I don't like to think of it as youth speak or youth slang. I like to think of it as like internet slang. So it's okay.
Yeah, internet slang, but I think that youths give us the internet slang.
Okay.
Like, we were youth, we were giving the internet slang. Like they came from us, and it's same for every upcoming generation. Like they decide the next cool stuff to say.
Yeah.
We don't have any power over it anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so do we want to say some slang and see if we know what it is?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll start us off. This is one that I've been seeing a lot, and it is ooh.
Oh.
U-W-U. I'll put it in the chat.
What the fuck is
What do you think that means, Christine?
Let me see what it looks like in the chat. Ooh, under Willow. I don't know. It means cool.
No, it's more of like a reaction of like cuteness overload is how it's usually described. Like ooh, like ooh.
Oh, it's just a way to say ooh, like I just did.
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more literal. It's not like
oh, that's adorable kind of like expression.
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh.
I would spell that like you.
Oh, you, like that.
Like that. Ooh. That's how I would spell ooh.
Woo.
I'm looking at the know your meme for uwu, and one of the things that it says here. Oh, hold on. I had a pop up. Face. Oh, my back.
Now you are.
Okay. It's also referred to as happy anime face because it's kind of like the eyes and then like the mouth and kind of a cutesy like animal-like smile.
Oh, Christine throws it now.
It's because I was changing. I had my Wi-Fi on the 2G one instead of the 5G one, and that's why it was freezing.
Oh.
I changed it. So anyway, did you say something new about uwu?
It's a anime style emoji basically.
Yeah, like I think when the character's mouth is like in a W, that's like a cutesy kind of expression.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, I just feel like it's a new way of kind of expressing, like, when I write that, I write you. It's just Next. Take us to the next word.
This one is slaps.
Okay, I have just recently been seeing slaps all over the place. You guys have been using it. Still slaps. Like Emma uses it. Emma's also really slangy in all her tweets.
Do you know what it means? Can you take it down?
It still hits hard. That's what it means. Like, I know what it means. I've gotten it. Like, I've seen it enough that I've gotten it via context clues. Like, that's happened a lot, but it still slaps. Like, it still hits.
It could be that, or it's just like that's so good. Like that song slaps.
Yeah. I know, yeah, but I've seen it used in that context a lot. Like it still slaps.
Like hits hard, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That one's so weird, but I like that better than ooh, because you can't really say that out loud. It's like an internet speak.
I don't really have any more.
Okay, do you have any?
I looked at the sheet that was like new slang that youths are using in the early 2020, and it was all stuff from like over the last year. And I was like, this, none of this is new. Like, who wrote this article?
Okay, well, I did find a new one, but I haven't used this one yet, but I might start using it.
What is it?
It's Kula Bula.
I haven't heard this one.
I just saw it in Urban Dictionary.
Does it just mean cool?
It like literally just means describing something that is great.
Are youths actually using that?
I don't know, but it was on Urban Dictionary, and I like the flow of it, so I'm gonna start using it.
Kula bula.
Ooh, that book was Kula Bula. Okay, so now we're gonna throw it back. Or wait, Kristen, did you have something?
Should we see if anyone in the chat has something to add for new slang before we go into old slang?
Yeah, let us know if you have any new slang.
Have you guys heard of I guess it's kind of a new slang. I mean, I've seen it used recently in this way. The word bodied.
Oh.
Like bodied?
Like full bodied, but without the full part. Just like, oh yeah, like this video just bodied me.
Yeah, but I never looked into like what it actually meant. So was it just like embodied it basically?
Does it mean like that was me?
No.
I just bodied this video.
No, this video just bodied me.
This video just like totally like grabbed my attention.
Is it like a mind blown kind of situation?
It's more of like something like this video killed me would be kind of thing. Like this video slayed me. Like I just got absolutely bodied by this video. Body slammed. Like
body slam. Okay.
You got murdered and you're now a body. You're just a body now.
Oh my god! Why don't they just say like murdered?
Like, I like that. I'm gonna start saying bodied.
Like, I like it. Like if you see a tweet of someone who's like, dragging someone, you can be like, oh, they got totally bodied by that tweet.
Oh my gosh. I like it. I'm here for it.
It's just like we just keep end up like making up new words to mean the same thing.
I know, but it's like a fun, like a more like interesting way to say that like new thing. So
it's just they get bored of the other word.
It's an evolution.
And need to rotate some new ones in. Okay. Should we throw it back?
All right, let's throw it back.
Okay. Let's see. Throwing it back to our youthful time of the late 90s and early 2000s. The first slang that I remember just like was internet slang. I feel like so we were like the founding generation of internet slang. Like our generation came up with the big classic LOL. Like we still use it today.
All of your abbreviations we came up with. LOL, WTF.
Back in my day, we said LOL instead of LOL.
I remember, like, when people were first figuring out what that meant, like, there was a time where like, adults did not know what LOL meant. Or, like, people, even younger people would have to be like, I just saw this new, like, what is LMAO? Like, there's extra letters in this. I don't understand what it means anymore.
I remember my aunt thought it meant lots of love. And when I said LOL, she was like, lots of love. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that was, and G2G was one of like the OG, like, gotta go. And Rafflecopter and Laminate were like huge when I was in high school.
What's the Laminate?
Laminate was like LMAO nade. We just like added Laminate.
We never have that one.
It's like the nerd version of LMAO, like lemonade.
Interesting.
And then Rafflecopter, we used to say all the time.
I remember Rafflecopter.
Roll on the floor laughing, copter.
We used to say FML a lot. FML.
Oh my god, that was huge in college. Wait, do you guys remember FML.com?
Yes, I love that website.
I used to wake up every morning freshman year of college and go to FML.com and read Fuck My Life stories.
Yes, so good. Is it still a thing?
I don't know. They were so funny though.
Yeah, FML.
I would sit there for like hours when I wasn't like when I was feeling down and just read FML stories. No, FML.com doesn't. It's finite matters LTD.
There's still a thing. fmylife.com.
Oh, F My Life.
Yes. I'm gonna go look at that later. I'm excited.
Is it spelled F or EFF?
Huh? Oh, F, just F. The letter F.
FMylife.com. Yeah, no, just like simple like comments. You were just like scrolling through. Yeah. It still exists.
Oh my gosh, and you can like agree with their posts or disagree. I agree, your life sucks, or you deserved it.
I love this.
That's amazing.
What a fun site. Oh my gosh, My Life is Average. I remember that came after, and I was like, this isn't as fun as FML. But yeah, like shortening words in general was like a huge thing that I feel like our generation was doing all through like high school and middle school. Like before SOZ, I was saying, I still don't use SOZ, but I was saying SARS instead of SARS. And like using huge, like I was making fun of it, but then huge became like a real thing.
How did you spell it?
We had a whole conversation about this, and then like John and Hank had a whole episode where they were talking about spelling huge, and it just like made my life because it's something I've been like arguing about with people since college.
Oh my gosh, no, I don't know how you would spell that.
Yeah, how do you spell it?
I try to spell it USH.
Oosh. Oosh. That'd be
Yep. It's short for usual, so it's like really confusing if you spell it with like any other word first, any other letter first. Oosh. Huge.
Yeah, we're never gonna find an answer to this. So.
Yeah, I remember trying to write it in my screenplay in senior year, and I was like, "Fuck this! I can't." As usual.
I said a slang word at the beginning, and it was chillax.
Chillax is such a '90s slang word.
Chillax, guys. It's
Yeah, like chillax. I did not like that one because it was always like when I wasn't even not freaking out. They were just like chillax. I'm like, I'm just talking.
We also used to say like, I'm gonna vom instead of like vom.
Oh, I never used that one, but I do remember other people using it.
Yeah,
I remember talk to the hand because the face isn't listening.
Oh god, that was so annoying.
Elementary school.
Yeah.
Did
Me and my sister at each other all the time, and it was like I'm annoyed with myself and her looking back on that. Like we were both so annoying.
I hated it so much too. Like, get your hand out of my face.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, excuse me, you're provoking me.
There was also cool beans with a Z.
Mm-hmm.
I still use that one though. So
do I. It's a catchy one. Like at first, I heard it like late in the game. Someone in high school used to say it, and then I started saying it. Now it's like it just stuck in my brain. The first internet slang that everyone used to say always ever in the late 90s was sup, and then NM, and then you, and then NM. Which meant nothing much, which is the stupidest.
Well, there's also, I want to say this is one of the first, maybe not one of the first, but this was a big kind of like viral marketing thing that like spread into society. Was there was a commercial of two guys going back and forth on a phone going like, "What's up? What's up?" Like that was the whole commercial. Just
Yeah, it was from like the early 90s, and like it really, I think it was from like 95 or 96.
And like this went I feel like it aired during the Super Bowl, and like that
Yeah, it did, I think.
go viral. But like kids would just be yelling this at each other for like months following this commercial. Like it was a meme before we had like real internet memes.
Yeah. That's the big classic one from the 90s. Like, what's that?
It like showed up in movies as like a pop culture reference to like the times.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Since we didn't have emojis back in the day, did you guys have like a go-to like emoticon that you used at all?
Oh, yeah. Same one I still use, equal sign and then parentheses.
Oh, I thought this was going to be like XD or something.
Mine is
XD came after. XD was like further in. Like no one used XD as much, I feel like, in the early days. We were just like colon parenthesis.
Yeah.
I used to use this one all the time.
Oh my god, I forgot about that one.
Oh gosh.
Do you guys remember Booyah?
Booyah, I remember Booyah.
And like mad props.
My dog is barking to go to the bathroom, so I'll be right back. I'm sorry.
Was it props even? Was that short for something? Like props?
What?
Because we used to say props all the time.
Props.
Yeah, like mad props. What is that for? What is that short for?
Oh, mad props.
Like, proper.
I like know what it means in context, but I can't tell you what.
Yeah, I know like what it means. Like, good, that's awesome. You did like amazing job, dude. But like, what is it?
I see here it says like support.
What is it short for?
I don't know.
You know, it was also huge. Whatever.
Whatever. Whatevs.
Remember, like, loser, double loser, kiss this, twist this.
I never did that exactly, but I remember another one that was something LL, something on your forehead.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So long ago. I cannot remember.
Yeah. You know, there's one from Dickie Roberts' Child Star that was like brick wall, waterfall. Dickie thinks he's had it all. And I do. So, with that attitude, Peach Punch, Captain Crunch. Like, everyone do it. Yeah.
Ours is like
pieces
waterfall, girl. You know what I do. Attitude there is bleaching on your something hair. I don't know.
Oh, yes! Oh,
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was a big one.
The bomb.
The bomb was huge. Owned and then like pwned.
Pwned got like traction in the early years of Xbox and like PlayStation.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
I remember being like, what the hell is pwned in high school? You Go Girl used to be really popular in the 90s. Now it sounds like super dumb.
We should talk.
Like,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say psych.
I still use psych.
And my B, which I don't like. My bad.
I still use that too.
And sucky, like that's sucky.
I feel like that's still valid today.
I never see people using it anymore. Like they just say that sucks.
Yeah, like sucky is less used than just saying something sucks.
Yeah. Jesse, what were we gonna bring up? Sorry.
I was just gonna say we should talk about our social medias from back in the day because that's something that's changed quite a bit. What social medias were you guys on back in the day?
I mean, I started with MySpace.
AIM. Wait, first AIM.
What count as a social media?
Yeah, we had profiles. So if you're working on a profile, I think it's oh my god, Jesse.
Bye.
I feel like if you have a profile, it counts as social media. And like AIM profiles were like the first thing we were all obsessed with being perfect. Like it had to be like a perfect square, and it had to be like the perfect colors. And if it wasn't, you weren't that cool.
See, I never really got into AIM because by the time that became popular, or by the time I didn't have a computer access at home when that was at its peak popular, because this was during a time when like not everyone had computers at home. Like it was still like teachers still accepted assignments written in pen. Like you didn't have to print out everything.
Did you guys have like AOL back in the day?
Yeah.
Clogged up your phone or whatever. Did that happen to you guys? It like overtook the phone line. So like when you
we had a separate line for the internet.
Yeah.
That wouldn't happen. But if you picked up the one phone we had on that other line, it was always like
yeah. Yes. And the classic startup.
Yep. Yeah. And were you obsessed with your buddy icon? And remember when buddy icons could suddenly move, and like if you wrote LOL, they'd be like ha 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 ha.
Yes. So
that was amazing. Like the technology when that happened, I was like, it knows.
Did you guys ever use Zanga at all?
No, I came on for MySpace.
Okay, Zanga was like the thing in middle school for me. Like it's basically like a blog format. So I don't know why it was such a big thing, but it was.
I feel like freshman year of high school was when I got MySpace, and that was huge. I had like a slideshow going on my MySpace. Like for MySpace, we had to get like HTML codes to like change the background and the fonts and like put stuff on it. Like cool people had
that was when there was the first like big gap between like an older generation and a younger generation, because like that's when I really started noticing like my parents don't know how to turn on electronics, and I'm over here like messing with HTML code like to code my MySpace page, which was really like basic stuff. It was just like a learning curve kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like now we're worse at HTML coding because we don't have to do it for free.
Yeah.
Were your parents ever like skeptical of you doing or being on MySpace at all? Because my parents were like, you cannot have a MySpace at all. Because like there were like news stories of like people being kidnapped and stuff through MySpace.
My parents didn't even know like what MySpace really was. Like they were just so out of the loop. I remember they used to like watch me AIM people. And like we had a code for if your parents were watching you, like watching you type. Like, we were gonna say something so horrible.
Right.
But I just remember like MySpace, the huge thing was like your top 8. Like you had to pick a top 8 friends to be in your square. And I remember like I didn't have 8 close friends. So
I also, it's ruthless asking you to rank them as like 1 and 2. Like, oh, well, I had a fight with her, so like now she's ranked 3. Like it wasn't a big fight; it was just a little one. So.
Like, and if something wronged you, you'd be like, oh, I have to take them off my top 8.
Yeah.
And then you would check their top 8 and be like, oh my god, I'm not in their top 8, so I shouldn't have them in mine.
Yeah. See, I don't think my parents knew about MySpace either, because like I didn't have a computer at home. Like my first computer with internet was after I'd already moved out and gotten my own apartment at home. But like, so I had computer access at school, so like that's where I would do my MySpace stuff. And like my parents, they still don't know anything about computers. So.
I remember also being like very like on top of music on my profile. It was like very important to me, even though like nobody else probably cared at all. But I was like, this is so important. I have to have the best song on my profile.
Yeah, a song would play when you got on certain people's things.
Yeah.
I remember I discovered a lot of music that way.
Yeah, definitely.
That's how I found Jack's Mannequin, and then I got completely obsessed with them. And then after MySpace, we all moved to the glory of Facebook.
Yep.
I remember when I first started people talking about it, I was like, what are they talking about? It was like all the cheerleaders, and they were talking about like a group they were in, and I was like, how come I'm not in that? This is mean.
See, my experience with Facebook was, I was like, I already have MySpace. Like, what is this MySpace wannabe thing? I'm not going to join this. Like, it's trying to replace MySpace. That's never going to happen. So obviously, I chose wrong in that situation. So I was a late adopter of Facebook, and I never really used it or liked it much. Because like by the time I like actually got around to Facebook, like Twitter had just started. So I was like, okay, Twitter's where I live now, and that's why I'm the way I am.
I hated the transition from MySpace to Facebook because I was like still in high school, and like all the parents were on Facebook. Like all the parents were on Facebook, and I was like, "This isn't cool. Like, why are my mom and dad on here?"
Like way later. Your parents were on Facebook fast. My parents didn't get on Facebook till like the end of college, and that's where all the old people kind of getting in.
My mom has like 3 Facebook accounts because she keeps trying to make new ones and she doesn't understand how they work.
Oh no.
She commented on one of your pictures once.
Oh yeah.
I remember she was just like, Kathleen, what a good picture. And I'm like, Mom, this is not my page. Like, you're just commenting on Christine's photo album. I just happen to be in the picture.
Do you remember like how you used to use like the MySpace comments on people's walls? I forget what we used to call them on MySpace, not walls, but like on Facebook. I don't know. No, I think I remember in the Social Network that he was like, we should call it a wall.
Oh yeah, that was a Facebook thing.
Yeah. So, but how we used to be like, after we went to each other's houses, we'd go on and be like, oh my God, this is my joke, this is my joke. Had so much fun hanging out today. And like, there's so many embarrassing posts from when we first got Facebook that come up like on the remembering thing. It's like, oh my God, peanut butter jelly time. Hello. Like, I'm so glad I came over today. I had the best time. Like, it would be like people that you kind of know or like you hung out with in a group and they'd be like, Christine, I'm so glad we hung out. You remember this? And it was like, remember this from yesterday?
Well, our list that we have for today's episode jumps right into aging. So should we talk about aging?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about what social media was like 10 plus years ago. So let's talk about other things that have changed in the past 10 years that we've really noticed.
Like something that feel like aging related, like how your perspective on things has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have written down some thoughts for this because I have so many, but now that we're on the spot and we've been talking about something else,
Well, how have your thoughts on social media changed from the beginning to now?
I mean, on each specific one.
Just in general. Like, I remember one big thing was like, when social media first became a thing, you weren't allowed to use your real name. Don't you dare even mention what state you live in. Like, it was all about like 6 layers of obscuring your identity. And now people are just like living their whole ass lives on the internet from like, family bloggers and stuff like record the child's birth through like they're in their teens now almost. Yeah. Like, it's nuts.
I feel like just in general, like my attitude towards it has become way less intense. Like I used to just start my day by like scrolling through every tweet of people I've followed. Like, and I would do that all the time, like when I was bored because I could. It wasn't like now where it's like, it's so overwhelming, it's so saturated. And there's so many ads and like nothing's in the order of that it was posted. So you can't really just like catch up with the people that you follow. It just felt more intimate. Like you could follow people and you could see their updates. Now it's like you get what people liked and what people, might have just replied to. And like so much is crowding your Twitter feed that it's just not the same at all.
It's a big thing is like attention span kind of thing. Cause like nowadays social media is programmed for like a really short attention span. Like it's trying to get your attention and hold it, but just for a couple seconds because that's all they can expect anymore. Right. So like back in the day, you used to be able to like just follow your friends and like just feel like more connected and like groups had a more intimate feeling than nowadays where it's just like we almost feel like we're trying to avoid sometimes.
Yeah.
It like literally is just like a bunch of vomit that I'm sifting through to try to find stuff that like I might want to see.
Right.
And it's just like either upsetting or just like stuff that you don't need, like get it out of my way.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a completely different experience. Like you said, with a short attention span, it's like everyone's screaming at you and you can't like just calmly scroll through.
Yeah.
Well, that's why like last summer I had to like unfollow everybody because like I just kept getting sucked into it and it messed with me mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing like everybody's thoughts. I'm like, I can't even focus on my own thoughts right now because I'm like thinking of like all these things are coming into my head right now, and it was just like making me go crazy. So.
I like after you did like a year after you did that, I was like, I almost wanted to do it, but I also like, how do you do it and not like offend everyone?
Yeah.
That made me anxious too. So I was just like, I just deleted Twitter from my phone.
Yeah. I mean, that probably helped too.
I mean,
It did help.
definitely be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it can especially be hard for people who are introverts because, back in the day it might feel like, oh, I can like communicate with people, but it's like I'm still in the security of my own home. I still feel like I'm introverting right now. But like nowadays it doesn't feel like that anymore. Like I get socially exhausted from reading Twitter because it feels like an interaction. It feels like there's a social exchange happening, even if there isn't necessarily. So it's just it's changed a lot in that way.
Yeah, it's like it's another stress inducer in a way now instead of something that I go to like escape. It's something that I feel like I have to check just to stay on top of things. But it's not something that I particularly enjoy as much. Like I really would love to do like a cleanse and just like refollow a couple people, but like it's something that I can't do without also feeling like I've offended.
Yeah, but at the same time, like you have to do what's best for you too.
Yeah, I don't want to offend anybody.
This is why you start a private Twitter and only have friends that follow you there.
That's another thing. You have to like juggle another Twitter.
Yeah.
Like that sucks. And like now, like I also have followed so many authors over the years, but like, after time, you're like, do I still want to follow all these authors that I don't know? Like you want to follow the ones that you do know, but then you don't want to like offend the ones that you're still following and are following you from like the early days. It's just like a whole thing. Like remember after you met anybody at like any conference, the first thing you do is like go follow them on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's like a courtesy. It was like we're friends now.
Right.
But like, if you don't see them for years and years, it's like this whole thing. Every time I go through and do a Twitter cleanse, like I'll only unfollow the people that like I'm not going to offend. And like I'll see that like someone's still following me that we haven't talked in like 5 years, but we met at like VidCon once. And I'm like, I can't believe you're still following me. Why? But thank you. So I can't unfollow you.
I feel like that situation happens where like both people are feeling the same way. They're like, oh, they still follow me, so I guess we're still friends. But like all of them were like, if they unfollowed me, like I would be cool with it, like I'd unfollow them kind of thing. But you don't know if it's not that situation and like they're gonna be hurt or they might think that like they did something to make you unfollow them.
Yeah.
Someone didn't like that thing I tweeted recently, and like they might not have even seen the tweet, but they just happen to unfollow you because that's what they happen to do at that time, and like it just gets confusing.
I literally had that experience because one of my good friends from high school, she did this weird thing where like all of a sudden she stopped picking up our phone calls like in 2010, which is like 2 years after we graduated, and like she didn't like return the calls, and so every time we wanted to hang out, so we stopped calling her because she was like not calling us back. And then like eventually I stopped following her on Twitter because she like never tweeted and she wasn't like, she ignored our calls for like months. And then after I followed her on Twitter, she blocked me on Facebook. And like I was just like, oh my God. You never even used Twitter.
Oh wow!
And then like it was like I did something terrible to her, and because I found out through someone else that she said that I had unfollowed her on Twitter, so she blocked me.
People take like stuff like this just too personally.
It's so petty. I feel like blocking someone on Facebook.
I feel like something that makes me feel kind of like old on social media is that like I'm not a big fan of like oversharing, which I feel like is a really big thing with like the youths, is that they just like share everything, like they don't really keep much to themselves anymore. So that's something where I'm like, ugh, I feel like an old grump every time. I'm like, why did you share that? Like you didn't need to tell us that, kind of a thing.
I know, and like then you feel like to like stay relevant, you have to be really open in certain aspects of your life that maybe you don't want to be and you want to keep for yourself. And it's hard to like fight that kind of almost peer pressure from like the rest of the popular internet.
Right.
Yeah. It's a struggle, yo. But I feel like it's coming full circle. I feel like we've gotten to we had the rise of like being super open about everything in your life, and now people are leaning towards more of like being private. I think it's slowly happening.
Yeah.
So everything comes around.
It does.
What do you guys think the next big social media site platform is going to be? What comes after TikTok?
I wonder if there will be like a new age type of Tumblr kind of thing. I feel like Tumblr is
perfect the way it is.
Really.
Yeah, Tumblr is dead in the eyes of like advertisers and people who feel they can monetize it. But because of that, like the people who still use Tumblr are just awesome. Like Tumblr is just a place where you can like really go and have fun and like reblog stupid stuff, and like people are hilarious over there. And like no one is monetized. No one like people don't have like profiles really. It's just like if their reblogs are funny. I love Tumblr right now.
So what you're saying is I need to get back on Tumblr then.
I think you deleted your Tumblr.
Oh my god, I accidentally deleted my Tumblr once. Sorry.
Tumblr is one of those things where it really depends on who you follow. It's not like Twitter where like they'll show you like who other people are following and who on your list is like liked whatever. Right. It's really hard to like discover people naturally, but if you follow blogs that you like and that reblog good stuff, then you can have a lot of fun on Tumblr.
Okay. You'll have to recommend me some people to follow.
Me.
There we go.
My Tumblr blog. I think my Tumblr blog is my funniest platform. I don't even post there myself. I just reblog things that are funny. Right. But like whenever I'm feeling sad, like I'll scroll through my own Tumblr and just be like, "Oh, that was hilarious. I remember reblogging that a couple weeks ago. I have great taste. That was funny."
I used to have that relationship with Tumblr, and then it became this like toxic wasteland of like cruelty. And I stopped going over there.
Gotta curate your space, I guess.
Yeah, you
gotta underage.
You gotta really curate the Tumblr space, but it's pretty easy because like they don't often like pop up a bunch of like random things. Like it's usually related to what you've been liking and reblogging.
There we go. Is there anything we want to close with today?
Any wise thoughts for the youth?
Wise thoughts for aging. Have you guys all had Chat's already 30. Do you have a 30-year-old crises now? Like, I feel like I've kind of moved past mine, but I'm not there. I'm at 29. But like,
you know what? When I turned 30, this is going to sound kind of dumb, but like I really did become immediately a lot more chill about aging. I was just like, oh, okay, I feel a lot better now. Like my 30s are already better than my 20s because like I feel like I just have a better grasp on like what's going on in the world, and also a lot of things just matter a lot less to me.
Yeah, I
like things. Like I'm not as like hung up on little things anymore. I don't get as easily stressed out by little things because I'm just like, we're all aging. We're all on this planet together. So whatever.
Yeah, I feel like building up to 30, like from 27 up to like 28 and a half, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm turning 30. Like I have no time left in my 20s. Like I haven't done anything. You are the generation like who had us, like our parents, like at this time in their life, we're at like completely different places. And I feel like that's a thing that we all kind of like the millennials have kind of gone through in their 20s a lot, because like you think about how they were married and had a kid and like owned a house, and like so different from where we are because of so many different things, like the job market and like the, you know, college student loans and so many different factors that have made it really difficult for us to be at that place where we're like they're ready to like settle down and have a family immediately.
Yeah, like my mom at my age had 3 children. And like one of them was like, I was like 6 when she was in her early 30s. She was like 25 or so when she had me. And it's just like, I can't fathom that. Like, I can't even imagine having 3 children, right? Like, I feel way too irresponsible.
When did you get married?
Yeah, it's wild.
My mom got married when she was 22. Like, that's insane to me now. And like my dad was like 27. It's just like my mom had me when she was 27. Like, like she had a 2-year-old child and like lived in a house with a husband.
Yeah.
Was like about to get pregnant again.
And also another thing that made me feel more chill about turning 30 was that I don't know, there is such a thing in our society where like if you're older than 30, then you're old news and like you're done. Like we don't need you anymore. It's like such a youth-centric society where like you have to be accomplished in your 20s or else you're done forever. And so like I turned 30 and I realized that like I don't feel much different from how I did when I was in my 20s. Like I can still do things and like have a life. Like my life isn't over now that I'm 30.
Yeah.
I did feel a lot less pressure of like, you know, people aren't expecting me to be a prodigy anymore because I'm too old for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. In your 20s, you're like expected to like accomplish like all your dreams and hopes. It feels like they have this deadline for your 20s, which isn't true. But like you care, like that pressure lessens, I feel like, when you hit 30, because you're like, okay, there isn't this like pressure to be like the 20-year-old. I remember like in college, it was like, oh my God, it's so cool that Veronica Roth was like 22, you know, like, and I still like think about how when like a young person picks up a book and they see that the author's in their 20s, it's cool because it feels like it could be you. And like, that's the thing that like I had to like get past, I feel like, because even I remember seeing that Maggie Stiefvater was 29 and I was like, oh, she's kind of old. She's not like as young. When I read her book, which is so stupid because 29 is like still so young. But yeah, it's a weird thing that you just have to like kind of make your peace with and realize like, dude, 30s is everyone's favorite decade. Like, ask any person like over 40 and like over like 45 even, and just like, what was your favorite decade? I remember my dad, when I turned 20, he was like 30s. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in my 20s, like as like the roaring 20s of my life. And he's like, yeah, the 30s are really the best.
I think so many people are like think that their 20s are it. You know, you come out of your youth, your teens, and you're like, okay, 20s, like time to make my mark on the world, and you don't really have a concept of like how much time you actually have. Like when you hit 30, like you're still in the beginning of your life, really.
Literally, like I just, it's, you think about people like Colleen Hoover didn't write her first book. She was in her 30s, and like her career over the past 10 years is like amazing to look at. I mean, even like J.K. Rowling, like it didn't come out until she was in her 30s. Like a lot of people, a lot of like huge authors have like hit their stride in their 30s, and that's totally cool and totally awesome. And like I think Stephanie Meyer was also in her 30s. Like the biggest authors that we know today, like did not get started in their 20s.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we also kind of have a warped idea of what 30 looks like because we're so used to seeing like 30-year-old actors play teenagers on TV that we just have it in our head like, oh, that person is a teenager, but like that person is in real life 30 years old. Like that's not what a teenager actually is. So
they started shifting a little bit, like with High School Musical, the musical, and it's been like they're young. Like they are.
Whenever a show or a movie casts actual teenagers in the teenage role. Like, you can really tell because you're like, that is a child.
Yes. But anyway, yeah. Moral of the story, we like life doesn't end at 30.
I like that moral.
Especially like nowadays it has completely shifted. Like I think like your childhood in a lot of ways extends into your 20s now because of all sorts of different factors of the economy.
Definitely.
Well, guys,
I is going to do it for our Dear Booksplosion live show today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Again, our February book of the month is Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell. We will be discussing this back here on this channel on Saturday, February 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, you can follow our Twitter and Instagram at Booksplosion for more updates, announcements, pictures, fun social media things.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching. We'll see
I'm
you.
Christine.
Later this month. Bye.
Bye.